Welcome to Liesel's Artistic Studio. Today, we'll discover the secret to transforming a simple pumpkin into an extraordinary work of art. The best part is that this captivating autumn watercolor painting can be achieved with this easy step-by-step tutorial. All we need to get started is some watercolor paper, watercolor paints, some water, a pencil, and some brushes. Here I have a number 8 Artegria round brush as well as a number 1 Princeton liner brush, and later I may even use a small number 2 round. All of these supplies you see here today will be listed in the description of this video if you're interested. Now, this painting can be done more loosely and without a base drawing. I have an example of that I can show you in just a little bit. But really quickly, I am going to go over the drawing of this if you'd like to have somewhat of an outline. I will also have available this outline for sale on my Etsy shop, which I will put a link to in the description of this video if you'd rather go that route. I have this many options because I just want you to feel comfortable and successful with this painting no matter which way you choose. So the first thing I'm doing here is drawing a cute little pumpkin with several plump sections to it here at the center bottom area of the page. Then I'll add a curly stem here at the top of the pumpkin. And if you want your pumpkin to appear more 3D, continue adding sections onto the pumpkin around the sides and back of the stem. Now off to the left side of this pumpkin, I'm going to draw in 2 maple leaves that stem out right from underneath the pumpkin. These leaves have nice jaggedy points all around the edges. You know, something that I love about this painting is that not only is it fun to paint, but it can be displayed for the entire fall season. You can have this out literally from September all the way through November. It works as an autumn piece, a Halloween piece, or even a Thanksgiving piece. Next, I'll draw 2 branches with more rounded leaves along the stem. The shape and look of these leaves sort of remind me of eucalyptus. Now I'll draw in 2 more leaf branches. This time the leaves will be a little more elongated with pointy ends, similar to an olive branch. Here in between these leaves, I'm going to add in 1 more small branch of leaves, this time with nice, round, small leaves. And here, stemming out from the base of the pumpkin, I've got a couple of branches of smaller, pointy leaves. And lastly, I'm going to draw in some squiggly little branches or sticks. Once as you've got your outline lightly drawn on your watercolor paper with pencil, you can tape your paper down with some artist tape if you like, and we're ready to go. So to start off, let's get a few colors on our tray. We'll start with some cadmium orange, then some cadmium red, next some burnt umber, and I think I'm actually going to darken this brown a little bit by using and mixing in some ivory black. And lastly, a little bit of Gamboge. Now I'm going to paint this first section of the pumpkin with a little bit of water first. You can see that it's a little tinted yellow still, but that's okay because after this water is on, we're going to add in some more yellow for the highlighted area of the pumpkin. Next, we'll take some of this cadmium orange and paint that in mainly around the edges of the section with a little bit in the center area so that the yellow and the orange can blend slightly together. Now let's take a little bit of this red and blend that in with the wet orange paint, mostly near the bottom of the pumpkin and maybe just slightly up the sides. And lastly, we'll add in a bit of a shadow here at the bottom of the pumpkin using the brown burnt umber. Now I'm just going to repeat that process over again on each section of the pumpkin. This time though, I think I might put down the orange on the outer edges first and then add the yellow in the center. Something else to keep in mind as you paint is that you want to have each section stand out just a little bit, so the best way to do that is to make sure that your lighter values and colors are more in the center of the section that you're painting, and then have the darker values or colors nearer to the pencil lines or the outer edges of each section. This is just going to help separate them so the pumpkin is not just one big blob of color. If you'd like to let me continue to help nurture your artistic skills, please consider subscribing to my channel. I try to provide you with knowledge and resources so that you can thrive as an artist, whether you're a beginner or whether you've been doing this for years. Now that the main part of the pumpkin is complete, let's let that all dry and then we can paint on the stem of the pumpkin using some burnt umber, and this is the part where I'm going to pull out a smaller number 2 size round brush. Next, let's paint in these maple leaves. First, I'll paint the area with water. Now, you can paint them any color you'd like, but I'm choosing to paint the main leaf color with this Gamboge yellow. And then while that yellow is still wet, I'll add in touches of red on the tips of the leaves and blend those colors together slightly. Now, while we wait for that to dry and before painting the next leaf, I did say at the beginning of this video that you don't have to have a drawing or an outline sketch to paint this. This is just my quick 5-minute rough draft that I was practicing my idea out on, but I did just quickly freehand this, and you can do the same. Just follow along with me using the same colors and the same placement, and you really can whip this out pretty quickly. All right, let's just paint this next yellow maple leaf now that the first one is dry. Moving on, I'm going to really quickly switch over to my liner brush here and paint on some thin branches for the next leaves using the burnt umber. I'd like to paint these leaves with a lighter brown color, so I'm going to take a little bit of this raw sienna here and add it to my tray. Then I'll start painting in all those nice round leaves along these branches. At this point, I'm just focusing on the leaves themselves, and then later when they're done, I'll take a small round brush and paint in some little dark brown stems that will connect the leaves to the branch. Now I'd like to add in some darker red to this painting. So I'm going to freshen up my cadmium red here, and then I'll add in a touch of burnt umber to make it just a shade darker. I'll use that color to then paint the stems and then the leaves of these few small branches off to each side of the pumpkin. Now, I have started using a small number 2 round for some of these smaller leaves, so feel free to switch over if it makes it easier. All right, we've got a lot of browns and oranges and reds going on here, so let's switch things up a little bit by adding in some green. Now, I do want the green to still blend in with my color scheme, so here I've got some sap green, and then I'll mix in some brown or burnt umber to it. Then I'll use that color to paint in these last 2 leaf branches. When these green leaves are dry, you can go back in with a liner brush and add in some leaf veins using the same color if you'd like. Now, using this thin liner brush again, let's take some dark brown and paint in our squiggly little sticks that are on both sides of the pumpkin. And for a finishing touch, I'll paint some small thin vein lines on these maple leaves using a watered down mixture of red and orange. And that's it for today's lovely autumn pumpkin painting. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you had some fun and maybe even learned something new. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please consider subscribing to my channel so I can continue to help you discover your artistic side.